Hi, Steve Mills here. It's great to be back on my podcast, sharing some more great ideas. Well, I hope they're great ideas anyway. Today, as I often do, I'd like to start by asking you a question. And that question is, if you're so great, how come you're not more successful? Now, you may say to me, well, don't go around telling people I'm great. But what I mean by that really is so many people tell me that, it's very frustrating. I'm not doing as well as I could be. Other people say things like, well, we're really, really good at what we do, Steve. But we're not really very well known. We've relied on referral and repeat business for a long time and not really done any marketing. I get other people tell me that they are great. I'm really great. I'm brilliant at what I do, but I'm not getting the results. And they often say to me, you know what really pisses me off is that there's somebody just down the road or, in the same town or in the same industry who are nowhere near as good as me, and yet they're doing far better. And that often really annoys people. There's somebody out there who are not as good at doing the work. They're not as skilled, they're not as talented, they don't provide as good a customer care, they're just not as good, but they're killing it in terms of the amount of business that they win. And I think, do you know what? I think that almost applies to any and every industry. And the reason for that is this, I believe anyway, is that people don't buy the best hairdresser. They buy the best hairdresser who's the best at selling and marketing their product and service. And when I say hairdresser, that also accounts to accountant, solicitor, and so on and so forth. Having said that, I'm going to argue with myself a little bit here, because I'm going to say that one of the keys to marketing starts right the way back at product development. If I asked you right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being really awful, 5 being average, and 10 being, this business or our particular service couldn't be any better, then where would you rate yourself right now? I don't care what you do for a living, it would apply to anything. So if you're let me use an example. If you run a hotel, right? You got a hotel and it's a small hotel and you provide a service, bed and breakfast, evening meal. Maybe you've got a conference center. Maybe you've got a gym and a health club and you got a bar and stuff like that. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good is it? Because if you're like most hotels that I've ever been in, it's decidedly average. It ain't great. And if you're trying to market products that ain't great, then you got a bit of a problem. So that's where really marketing starts, I believe. You got to, you don't want to spend a load of money marketing a product that's rubbish. Why would you do that? Because you're not going to get any repeat business. You're probably not going to get any referrals, and you're going to get a load of bad publicity all about how awful your product or service is. So it starts with getting that product right. We've got to get that product right. And so, the old saying, why aren't you more successful? It may or may not be because your product's not right. I'm not suggesting that. But what I'm saying is it's because there are enough elements of your sales and marketing that are not going as well as they could, that are therefore limiting the amount of success that you're currently enjoying. Okay, so I got a question for you, or another question. The question is, what would happen in your business if a particular person that you hold very highly as a successful business owner took over that business and ran it for a year? So, for example, if you employed or if you sold your business to Richard Branson, and Richard Branson himself came in and started running your business. Now, that's assuming you think Richard Branson's a pretty successful guy. In my industry, for example, in the, advising, coaching, mentoring, helping, what I call the helping industry, probably the leading person in my industry is a guy called Tony Robbins. He turns over about $2 billion a year, I think it is, something like that. It's a phenomenal amount of money. And, he's probably the world's leading business personal coach, and trainer. And, he's turning over that level. So if he came into my business and started running it tomorrow, my question for me, and what I want you to think about is for you, is what would that person do? Now, let me just clarify here. He's not allowed to use his money. It'd be very easy for Tony to throw 50 million at my business and increase sales. I'm sure he could do that. I'm sure anybody could do that. But he's not allowed to use his money. He's also not allowed to use his fame or his contacts. He's not allowed to, employ a load of people. He's got to run it, pretty much how you're running it right now in terms of the resources of people and money and so on and so forth. But my question is around what would happen, and would they be more successful than you? In the next 12 months, would this person, if Richard Branson took over your business, or one of the dragons, or, somebody like that, or your industry's leading person took over your business and ran it for 12 months, would they be more successful than you? If so, why? Why would they be more successful than you? What would they do? What would they do? What would they do that you're not doing? And why aren't you doing it? Wouldn't it be great just to sit down for half a day with somebody and answer that question? Literally sit there and work out, right, these are the key performance indicators. These are the key things in my business. Some of them are going really well. Some of them are going not really well. What do we need to do in this business to raise our game, to do better than we've ever done before, to maximize our return on investment from each action that we take, each strategy, each system, each sales process, each marketing process, each customer service process, each operational process, and each financial process and system that we've got in this business? Wouldn't that be worth half a day? Wouldn't that be worth half a day to sit down and work out what you can do better to improve? Now, do you know what? I absolutely and totally believe it would be, and I hope you do too. Now, if you're interested in doing just that, I'd be very interested in having a conversation. Now, what I don't expect is for you to listen to this podcast and phone me up and offer to pay me a load of money, or even a reasonable amount of money, in order for you to be able to do that. So what I'd like to do is to meet you on this and to be able to give you some ideas and ways in which you can grow your business based on what you do if, the world's leading expert in your industry was to come into your business. So let's have a conversation around that. What I'd like you to do is to go to my website and go and have a look along the banner at the top for a section called Free Results Meeting. Book yourself a meeting. There's a diary on the page. You can go in, log into my diary, have a look when I'm free, and book an appropriate time for you. Now, this is not half a day. This is an hour with me. This is a discovery meeting to see if you can work with me and I can work with you. So there's no obligation. There's no cost. This is totally free. It can be done ideally in my office. If not, it can be done over the web. We use something called zoom.com, and we can set up a web meeting so I can see you, you can see me, and we can see each other's screens if needs be. So if you want to do that, that would be fantastic. What you need to do is to go to www.stevemills.co and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Thank you ever so much for listening.